Hey everybody, just bear with me 1 second while I wait for this to connect so I can plug in my mic. Okay. Welcome to Elisa's Art Room. Tonight we're going to work on a new journal. We're going to do a coffee journal. It's going to be called Coffee and Cocoa. So we're just going to mix two of my favorite caffeine things and make a journal. So hopefully it'll be a cute one. I've got some fun papers and some pretty fabrics to work with. So y'all come in and say hi. Let me know you're here. We're live on Facebook if you see the little red button at the top left. If not, you're catching a replay. Hey Dawn, thank you for letting me know the sound is good. I'm going to get you guys pulled up on my other device so I can see chat. If I can remember how to do it. You take a week off and you're like lost. Okay. All right, there. Looks like it's on. Volume down. All right. So, let's see. I've got a couple of things we're going to be working with. So I've got this Stamperia paper I found. This is a background one. They have the regular ones too, but I just got the background one this time. And then I've got a bunch of like digitals from Etsy, which I will have to put in descriptions later because I think I forgot to print them out. It's like, they're probably on my phone, but I didn't print them out. And then I've got this one I got off Amazon called Coffee Lover. Look at this name. I didn't even notice this. It's called Panalisa. It's totally spelled the same as my name. I saw that last night and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it's got some pretty papers in it. They're like, let's see if I can get it to flip through a little bit. So they're pretty. And other than that, like I said, digitals. And then we have a couple of fabrics that I found at Hobby Lobby. So one is coffee beans. And the other one is coffee cups. Okay. So those are the two fabrics we're going to use. And we're going to get started on this. Hey, Angela. Hey, Nancy. All right, so let me go ahead and get this camera pulled up and we'll get started. All right, 1 second. All right, I think that's good. Okay. So I've already cut out the Amazon packaging. I'm not going to go through a lot of detail. I probably have, gosh, at this point, what? I don't know, 30 videos showing how to do these covers. I have a bunch. But we'll go through it enough that you'll understand. So this package is one I took apart. It was probably an M8 if I had to guess. I usually go by the sizes on the bags. Let's see if I can find any. So they start out like this. And let's see, I think that was an M8. Possibly. It's possibly an M8, but it might have been a different one that I cut in half. But these are the packages that have the little bit of filling in them, I think. Yeah, they've got the little bit of foam filling in them. Sometimes they have this, if I can get it to separate, sometimes they have this foam filling and sometimes they do not. Okay. And it's just like fuzzy stuff. Like it's like a spray foam, I think. I don't know what it is. So that's in there. I'm not going to use the interfacing stuff that I use, the Pellon. This time I'm going to leave it kind of this crinkly feeling without so much soft padding like I did on my last one. So this one would be a little more crinkly, I think. I almost went with a hardback, and then I found this fabric and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go with soft. So I've got this marked in my usual way to tell me where things go. And usually I tear the bag apart. So it starts out like this as one piece, okay? And then I take my palette knife and I separate the edge. Okay, and it just separates there where it's glued. And anywhere else that I need to. This side was cut, obviously. But until I get two pieces that are the size that I want. Now, for this one, I'm not going to be putting the lace on the edge, I don't think. So I'm not leaving quite as much room on the edge. I've got a 2-inch spine approximately. I think it's 2 inches. Let me look. Pretty sure I did a 2-inch spine, because with me, if I don't do 2 inches, it's going to get gator mouthed. Yeah, so about a 2-inch spine, and then from each side it is 6 inches and 6 inches. So it is a 14-inch. It should be 14. Let's see if I can. I don't have enough ruler. There we go. Yeah, it's 14 by 9. Okay, so 14 by 9 is what I start out with. That gives me 6 on each side, a 2-inch spine. And then that's plenty of room because my pages are going to be 5.5 because I use a typical 8.5 by 11 sheet. So it'll give a little bit of room on the edge here. That way, if I do want to add any ribbon or anything, there is a little bit of room there to play with. So that's how that's going to go together. All right, so I turn it inside out so I don't have to worry about any of these markings that might be on there. So I've got front cover, back cover, and then I've got ribbon. This is where my ribbon's going to go, and I found this brown ribbon that was on a bag of a package of some sort. It had those like shoestring things on the end of it, but I cut them off. So it's just like a brown silk ribbon, and that's going to go in here. Okay. And then it's going to go like this. So this will be the front. It'll close like this. This is the inside right, inside left, and then this is the pocket, the front area that's not a pocket because I don't do a pocket on the front, and the back area will be a pocket. So I don't think I wrote on there. Do I have it turned around? Let me see. I think I got it. No. I think I just wrote on the wrong side. That's what I did. That's okay. I can fix that. Okay. So this is supposed to be on this side. So I messed that up. So you don't want that writing there. Let me fix it, or I will get totally confused. Okay. So this is the, where's my chalk pencil? So this is the inside front. Let me see. Inside left, inside front, glued. We're just going to say glued. I don't remember how I was labeling that part. Pocket top, we don't need any of that. So this is the front. Not sure how I ended up doing that. Inside right, inside left, front, back. All right, so the pocket is over here. Ribbon. Always write all this stuff down because I will sure enough forget. There's a center here somewhere I've got to find. And this is pocket with paper over it. So we're just going to say pocket with paper because I'm going to line the pocket. And this is the, we'll say back. And this is the, well, that could be bottom and then top pocket. That makes a little more sense, I think. Top pocket with paper. okay? And the ribbon goes across there. Let me go ahead and find the center so I can mark it. I think I had it marked on the other side. Of course, on the wrong side. I don't know where I had it marked. Oh well, we'll fix it. Ruler. So 9, half of 9 is 4.5. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So 4.5 is my center. And this is just so I get the ribbon approximately, in the center and it connects right and all that. 4.5. And we'll just draw a line loosely across there. Let me turn it because I can't draw that way. So this is my ribbon line. All right. So ribbon. Let's put it back together. Ribbon goes here. Inside front glued goes there. All right, that's correct. Now it's all together, right? So that's how that's going to go. So the first step is probably go ahead and put that ribbon down because I probably forget. Have I been putting the ribbon down first? Gosh, guys. Sorry about being spacey. I am still grieving, guys. Most of you on Facebook know that I lost my kitty Kiba, who used to come with us on our lives sometimes. And he got some really aggressive cancer and passed a couple of days ago. So, well, on New Year's Eve. So I'm still grieving. So bear with me if I seem very flustered and out of it, because frankly I am. I'm not doing great, but I'm going to try to hold it together for our live. So that's all we're going to talk about that. So let's see. We need to put our papers on, which I didn't cut out again. I did that same thing last time. So we're going to pick papers for our liner. We've got our ribbon that goes under the papers. So I think I'm going to use this background paper because it's got some pretty ones in it. So I think let's see which one I want to use. I'll probably just use one of the plainer coffee type ones. I think there's one in here that just has some coffee on one side and then some like a floral design or something. Okay, here's the coffee beans. No, I think I want to do, is it this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, I think I'll do this one for the pocket. I could just do, no, I could do this because it's got that on the other side of it. And since I'm only using one side of it, you know what, I'm going to do that. That way I don't waste a double-sided. I'll just do this. So that way we don't waste a double-sided. So this is what we're going to line the pocket with. So we have to cut it to size. And it just needs to be almost to the edge. It doesn't have to go exactly to the edge, but close. You can put it all the way to the edge, I guess. I usually don't. I don't know why. But measurement-wise, I'm just using this side. I know it goes on the inside, but I'm just using this. Let me find a pencil. All right. I'm just going to mark it. I'm not going to... I got to decide which way I can get this cut. I think I can get 2 out of here because it doesn't have to go all the way deep to the spine. As long as it goes about to there, that's enough. So probably this is I can get 6 inches, so it should be fine. So I think I'm going to do a 5.5 approximately. That's probably good enough. Let me find my ruler again. I lost it again. So we'll do 5.5. I have no idea if that's what I normally do because I just don't know. I don't remember. So we're going to do 5.5, and we'll just do 2 cuts of 5.5 and then 1 cut of 9 or whatever it is. I think it's 9. That'll leave a little bitty strip there, but I might use it for something, a trim or something. So let's cut the 2, 5, and let's cut the 9 first so that I don't lose that big chunk there. That'll keep that. So let's do this at, we'll do 8 3/4. I don't want to do all the way to 9 because sometimes it sticks out and I don't really want it sticking out. So we'll do like 8 3/4, I think. So 8 3/4. I'm just gonna mark both sides to make sure I get it approximately right. 8 3/4. Hopefully I can see these marks. All right, so we're gonna cut that first, this off first, because that leaves the biggest piece. I always try to cut my papers where I leave the biggest drop I can, if possible, because, you know, then you get more out of it. So let's take that off. Okay, so there's that drop. That'll work for pockets or anything. And then this one is our 5 1/2 pieces. Which first one is there. And then 5 1/2. And you could even go 5, because you don't see very far down into the pocket usually, but it's fine as long as you don't get into the spine. You definitely don't want your pocket cover papers to get into the spine area, because then it won't fold right. So that's probably the most important part. So we're going to put one here over the ribbon and one here, okay, and it will be like that. So let's take it back apart. We're just going to glue this ribbon on first, because I'm pretty sure that's how I've been doing it. Isn't it awful that I can't remember? I have no idea what's going on with my brain. Well, I do, but still. All right, let's fold this in half, find the center. Okay, so this is double-sided, so I don't have to worry about which direction. And we're going to glue that right there. I'm trying to think, guys. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. I know I have a cheat sheet somewhere around here. Where did you put it? But it's in my cheat sheet book. Ooh, don't knock everything over. Totally just like had a whole like collapse. All right, my cheat sheet book is getting very full. All right, where is it? Is this it? Layout, vintage, hollow spine, pocket, Oxford hollow, Amazon package cover. There we go. This has like all my notes of things I do to help me remember how to do them. I need like one of those, what do they call them? Idea books. I need an idea book, but I haven't made one yet because honestly they're a lot of work and I just haven't had time. So that's kind of my idea book. Kind of, sort of. All right, let's see. Step 1, find a base, packaging, cut size, open up base, did that. Decide closure, ribbon, wrapper, eyelet. We're doing a ribbon. Cut fabric for cover. We did that. I've got the fabric cut already to size. It is just slightly larger than the bag. Pick paper to cover the inside. Lay out everything. Mark envelope. Did that. Open base. Glue in ribbon if using one. Okay. Glue on pocket pages if using. All right. So we're at that spot. We're doing good. All right. So we're going to glue this to this little line here. And this also gets sewed, so it only has to be glued well enough to hold while you're putting everything else down, because the paper is going to get glued over it. It's going to get sewed. There's a lot going on, so it really doesn't need a ton of glue, just enough to hold it. And then you just want to make sure that you've centered it approximately on each side, so that when you fold your bag, it meets up in the correct spot. So just double check that before your glue dries, and that looks good. Okay, so there's our ribbon. And now we need to get our papers down, which I'll probably just use art glitter for that. Probably the one without the skinny nozzle. So we glue our paper down. Our paper goes all the way to this edge. And then the sides don't really matter because they're going to get sewed and stuff, so that it doesn't have to go all the way to the side. It's not a big deal. It'll be closed up in there. So I'm going to glue this down. This isn't directional, so I don't have to worry about that, which is nice. Love it. Boy, I haven't opened this one in a week, and now it's very plugged. Hold on. It's always nice when you don't have to worry about direction. So that's just a corkscrew with a corkscrew. It's just a cork with a floral wire in it. So glue this down. You don't really have to glue the top and bottom sides that much because they're going to be sewed. I would say pay extra attention to this side because you do want it flat. But the middle part is probably the main part that you should try to get down well. So let's see if we can do this before this art glitter glue dries. It dries so fast. So I'm going to try to get it flush with the edge there as much as I can. You can leave a little showing because chances are your bag's not square. If you're like me, the bag's going to not be square. It never is. I don't know why. I try so hard to get them square and it never seems to work. All right, so there's one side. Is that the right side? Oh my goodness, now I'm confused. Okay, it is. Phew, scared me. All right, this goes. Yep, okay. This one goes here, this side. Let's move that out of the way. So this one goes here where I said pocket with paper. And this is the edge. Oops, kind of putting it on the wrong side, but that's okay. We'll just throw some on there and then we'll throw some on here. We'll make it work. All right, we're going to try to concentrate on this edge. Kind of flush. Oops, I'm getting glue everywhere. Don't really need glue there, but it will be glued later, so. All right, let's try to flush this up to the edge as best I can. Glue everywhere. All right, let me clean off my fingers. Okay, so now we have that piece and this piece, okay? So you see how that works. That will become our pocket on the right side. So we have to cover this with fabric. Let me think about this. Let me read my instructions again. Home base glue ribbon did that, glue papers did that, glue fabric avoiding edges as you will be sewing them with the base open, sew the pocket, opening edge on front cover, then back cover. Opening edge on front cover, then back cover. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is sew our pocket to the fabric, and the reason for that is later when we try to sew the whole thing together with our fabrics on here, I will be sewing all the way around like this, but stopping where the pocket is, because I can't sew the pocket closed, obviously. So at this point, what we're doing is we're sewing the fabrics that we're using just to this edge where the pocket is, so that piece is sewed down. Okay, so we need to line everything up so that those sit where they're supposed to, so that we can sew this edge and this edge only. All right, so I've chosen these two fabrics. We're going to use fabric tag. One of these had, I marked the top. All right, I did this as the top. There's not really a direction to this. The words on this, it has like words that are facing this way, but then when you turn it around, like half of the words are facing the other way. So it works either way. It's kind of just whichever one aesthetically pleases you, and for whatever reason, this way worked better for me. This is going to be my inside. Okay, so we have inside, and then I've got this lace and fabric for a pocket. Okay, so this is going to be my pocket. I think I'm going to attach this pocket to this piece of fabric first so I don't forget it. Yeah, and I'm going to glue the center down, because sometimes if I don't glue the center down, what I find happens is when I'm trying to sew it later, they separate and there's that little air pocket in there, and it's hard to get the needle to line up. So I'm going to try to glue that down. So I need to find the center of that for the spine. I'll probably just use this and mark it. So this just goes off the edge like 1/4 of an inch on all sides. And I've got this spine kind of marked already on the inside. I didn't mark it on that side, but that's okay. As long as I get close. It doesn't have to be perfect on this gluing down of that. I just want to get close. Put my white chalk pencil because I can erase that later. So center is, I could probably measure the center, honestly. I can measure the whole thing. It's about 6 1/4. Did I write it down? I'm sure I did. So the fabrics are 9 1/2 by 14 1/2. So the spine is still 2 inches, but each side is like 1/4 of an inch longer. So 6 1/4 on each side, 6 1/4, and then 2. I think that makes sense. I think. So 6 1/4, if I'm thinking correctly, should go there. Let's see if we do 6 1/4 from this side, if we get to the 2 inch spine. Does that give me about a 2 inch spine? It does. Okay. So 6 1/4 is where I want to approximately put that glue inside. So somewhere in this area, and you can do both sides, although I usually just eye it. But we'll lightly mark it, because I can just kind of rub that off, or even use a damp cloth to take it off the chalk pencil. All right, so that's where I'm going to put some glue, and then I'm going to lightly tack the edges because they're going to be sewed, but I want them to kind of stay in place without me having to worry about it right this second. So let's do that. So this is that fabric. It also helps me know the direction, because I've got this marked with a little T there for the top, and it lets me know that, because the pocket's easy to tell the direction. Does that make sense? So let's just go ahead and glue this down. I'm not sure if I want to use Fabri-Tac. So I'm just going up to my little chalk mark there. And I'm just going to glue that lightly with something. I think Fabri-Tac. I think so. I don't know. I think so. We'll go with Fabri-Tac. just enough to where it doesn't move around. So I really don't want it moving around. I'd prefer to spread this out, which is tricky to do when you're working directly on the fabric. I don't have this 2 inches marked, but I can kind of guesstimate about where it is, because 2 inches isn't terribly difficult to figure out. I'm going to spread it with this just a little bit and see if that'll tack down approximately where this is, just to stay nice and flush for me for that spine. That looks good. All right, so that should be, yeah, attached. And then we obviously don't want any glue there because that's our pocket. I'm only going to put a really, really, really light amount of glue on this edge. Just some little dots to kind of keep it lined up until I can sew it. Usually it's not a big deal, but oh my gosh, I can't separate it. Just a little. Because I'll pin it with those little clips, but I just want a little bit there. Probably should have done this side first, huh? Come on, glue. So I'm not doing a ton. There. Just a little. Tack it down. All right, so there's that. So we'll set that up here for a second. So my back cover, which is also the front cover, I'm doing the beans on the front and the beans on the back. They will have other things on them, but that's my background. So that's this back piece. Sorry, my ribbon is not cooperating. Let me glue it a little bit better. It's trying to move on me. Stay. All right, so I'll do this back cover. So we want it centered, obviously. So we're gonna try to center it to where I just have a little bit of an edge. Ideally, the same all the way around. Like I said, they're never square. As hard as I try. This one's not terrible. It's close, but it's not quite, but it's close. The most important part is just making sure that my edges are as close as I can get them, particularly on these two edges, since this one particularly will be open for the pocket, so I kind of want to make sure that that's at least even. So it looks like I'm okay. I'm a little tight here and here, but it's enough, I think. So all right, so this is going to get sewed just to this fabric, so we need to pin that or lightly glue it. I think I'll just lightly glue it for now, and then I'll probably pin it. I don't want to put glue on there because it might show through, so I'm going to jump over to this side and just put a tiny bit of glue there. I'll be gluing the whole thing down, probably, but I'm just going to put a little bit for sewing for right now. I'll glue more later. So just a little. Hopefully I can get it to stay in place. Does it look like it stayed? Yeah, that seems okay. So I'm going to sew that. Let me find my clips. There's one. I got a whole bunch of them here. There. All right. So we're going to sew this side for the pocket, and we're going to double sew on the ribbon just to give it a little more strength. So, and then the rest of it, we just need it to stay lined up. So let me make sure that it's even before I go sewing everything. It looks pretty even. I'm going to clip it just to hold it in place so it doesn't move on me. I do not want it to move. Okay, that should be enough. So sewing this piece, let's set it aside. This one, Where am I? Inside right. This is the top pocket. All right, where'd my fabric go? Oh, there it is. Inside right. Okay, that's the inside. Yep. Okay, so we gotta center this one. Hopefully I'm not being too confusing. Try not to be, but you know, like I said, I'm kind of out of it. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. So bear with me. All right, let's this. And honestly, I only do a cover like every, what, 13 weeks or so? I don't know. It's not that far. Maybe 7 weeks. Probably about one every 7 weeks. So I forget. I always forget what I'm doing. It's like, how did I do that? I don't know. I think it was like this. This is an arrow to remind me what's top, so I always keep that in mind. It is important to mark your top and your bottom so that you know the direction and you don't get turned around, because it's so easy to get turned around when you're doing these. I don't think that's enough glue. It dries, it soaks into this paper really fast. I'm trying not to put it too much where I'm sewing. I'm sewing a little further out, I think. I hope. Let's make sure that's in the right spot. Smooth it down. All right, center wise, looks good, looks good, looks good. I think we're good. This piece was a tiny bit bigger. Let me get this glue off my finger. Should be able to roll it off. That's the nice thing about Fabri-Tac is usually you can kind of roll it off your fingers. All right. Make sure that's nice and flush. Which side's glued? That side. Okay. I want to make sure that it's taut, because sometimes it gets a little off when you glue it. Try and make sure it's staying. I didn't check the other side, but I will before I glue those edges. All right, that looks good still. Centered, centered, centered. All right. Top, bottom, top. Pockets that way. That's correct. Look at this. It's never going to hold. I might have to pin it. Just hold for a minute. As I'm not sewing that. Well, yeah, I am sewing that. Okay, I am sewing that down. This pocket looks a little off. Straighten it up. Okay. So this goes like that. This goes. Where's my arrow? There's my arrow. See my arrow? I don't know if you can see it. Okay. So this goes like this. I just want you to kind of keep an eye on what I'm doing. Pockets there. So that's up. Pocket here. Okay. Ribbon in the back. Always make sure the ribbon is on the back page. That's important. I accidentally put it on the top page once. Don't do that. It does not work. It has to be on the back. Okay. Your back cover is correct and the correct direction. Mine's not directional. And your front cover is correct. Okay, so that's where we're at. Now we're sewing this piece to the pocket and this piece to the pocket first. Then we will sew all the way around and glue. I'm debating if I want to try to glue now. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. I think I'm going to sew it first and then I'll glue it. All right, so let's grab the sewing machine. This is the fun part. It's always the fun part. Me trying to get the big old sewing machine up here. I'll try. All right, I'll get this glue off my fingers. Guys, I bought that stuff at Michael's. I bought the Actually, I got that fabric at Michael's, not Hobby Lobby. Oh yeah, I totally forgot that. I got it at Michael's. I rarely buy fabric from Michael's, but I had a voucher. You know how you get those rewards vouchers? I had a reward voucher and I wanted to spend it, could not spend any money. I went to Michael's. I got the fabrics. I got a couple of these little containers. I got these awesome wood beads. Look at these wood beads. I think these will be very pretty. They're teal and browns. They look like little coffee beans. I got those wood beads. I found this charm, little coffee cup charm. And what else did I get? Oh, some peeps, but we won't count the peeps. I bought all of that, and it was $0. 0, 0, 0. Didn't cost me a penny because I had reward vouchers. So all this didn't cost me anything. So that's always nice. Can't beat that. All right. So let me move this water and grab the sewing machine. Oh my goodness, it's heavy. All right, so I'm going to sew from the top. I know you're not going to see a lot. But I'm just sewing a straight line, guys. It's not a big deal. So let's see if we can get this thing apart. I usually have the cords all undone, so I don't have to fight with it. Because, of course, I got it all in here crooked. All right, one more. All right. Goes on the floor. And I'm tangling up with my mic. All right, let me get this plugged in. Bear with me. I know it's... Let me put my mic down. Don't let me forget to put my mic back on. Put my mic back on, then y'all can't hear me. I know, right? Nancy, free is awesome. I love free. All right, let me get this wood board out of my way. All right, so make sure we're where our pockets are. Okay, so we've got our pocket there. This is the top of the pocket, technically. So we're just going to sew this edge. I like to sew from this side. As y'all know, it is always a pain to try to catch. I'm trying to catch this little bit of paper. All right, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to mark it with a chalk pencil this time. I don't want to sew from this side because if I do, then the ugly thread is on this side. And I don't want the ugly thread on this side. My sewing machine's not great. I want the thread that's good on this side. So I'm looking through it. I can see through it with the light. And about 1/8 of an inch in from that paper, the packaging, is where I want to sew. So right here is about 1/8, maybe not quite 1/8. That might be too much. We'll do we'll do 1/8. That was more like 1/4. All right, so right there, and I'm just going to try to look through it and mark so I can stay on that cardboard. You can kind of feel it, but it's easier if you can look through it. It's harder with this pocket, though. All right, I can feel it. So I'm just going to try to mark it so I don't miss it, as I always miss it. Right there. So you can't go by the edge because my edges are never perfectly straight. So if I go by the edge, it might be 1/4 of an inch here, but it might only be 1/8 of an inch down here. All right. I think I got enough marks on there I can follow to keep my line inside the right area. That's the goal. Let's see if it works. All right, lift up my foot. I have black thread in here. I debated on changing it to brown, but a lot of it's really dark anyway. So I think black will be fine. All right, let's do it and hope that we get it right. It's always so nerve-wracking. I'm always afraid I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna backstitch just a little bit. Hopefully that glue will hold. So there's no ribbon on this side, but I do have this lace to go over. I just want to make sure it doesn't buckle or anything weird. I'll grab my palette knife so I can lay that flat. There. All right, let's see how I did. Hopefully it's on the edge. Not too bad. All right, so right on the edge there. You see how this side isn't pretty, and I'm sure it's something that needs fixed on my sewing machine. I'm not the best about caring for my sewing machine. I know I'm not. So for this side, we want to glue this piece down. Same thing, we want to glue from the other side, and then when we get to the ribbon, I'm just going to double back a little bit just so it seals down good. Okay, so let's see if I can mark this side same way and hopefully stay in there. About there. It's nice when you can see through it. The light in the sewing machine is just strong enough I can see through it. You could also just fold it over like that and mark it, you know, 1/8 of an inch in or so. That's probably the easiest thing to do, honestly. Just so I stay on that piece of paper. All right, got it. All right, move you down there. Okay, here we go again. Hopefully I can do it. I feel like my tension's right. I don't know why it does that. All right, I'm getting to this ribbon. Just want to make sure that I go back and forth just a little. Like once is probably enough. I think I need some oil. I keep saying that. I should just order it off Amazon, guys. I did just get a little happy mail of an Amazon gift card, so there we go. I'll get me some sewing machine oil. I need some. All right, so let's see how we did. All right, not too bad. So I just went back and forth there just once, just to kind of give it a little more strength. Okay, so let's set this up here, out of the way a little bit. Will it stay there? No, it won't. Okay, we'll put it there. Hold on. Okay. So we're going to glue this all the way down to the paper. So I'm just going to undo it. And then very carefully make sure, hopefully it matches. So I really need that sewing machine to be moved a little bit more. Let me see if I can stick it over here. Go there. Oh, now I've got the foot pedal too high. Hold on. So it's complicated with a small desk. Okay. Okay. I think we're good. All right, so we'll do this piece first. So this is the front cover and the back cover, which we are gluing to this piece. And then we will sew it all together, but I want to glue it first. It doesn't have to be glued super well to this area and this area, a little bit, but for the spine, I've started trying to make sure it's glued well there, because it seems to really help me with sewing when I'm sewing the signatures, if that piece is down well. So that's what I'm going to kind of concentrate on, that this has some, you know, decent amount of glue just to hold it until I sew it. And then the other one has the most glue. If I can find my Fabri-Tac that I have sat somewhere. Is this it? Nope. Nope. Oh, there it is. I found it. Have I tried? I did try it a little bit. I played with it. I cut some cards with the decal. Deborah asked if I've tried my decal cutter yet, for those who are watching on YouTube later. And yes, I did play with it a little bit. It's noisy. It's very loud. I like it. It's cool. But it is very loud. That was the only thing I think that really kind of surprised me, how loud it was. So just a decent amount here. I'm going to spread it out because I don't want it to go through my fabric too much. So I'm just using a little silicone thingy, and we're just going to pull this to where it's supposed to be, and I'm going to flip it and double check. I'm on the edges still, okay? And then we're going to do this spine section. But yeah, it's noisy. Hey Jonna, how are you doing? It has been a while. I'm not concentrating on the edges too much because they will be sewed down. But just the center part. I just want to try to get this to lay as flat as possible, so that, like I said, it makes sewing it a whole lot easier if I don't have it moving around on me when I'm trying to line up the holes. Make sure I'm still centered. Looks okay. All right, and then we'll do this side. Yes, louder than a regular, well, louder than my guillotine cutter. So I guess so. I'll show y'all in a minute. Don't let me forget it. I'll try to show you. It's so loud. I guess because of the decaling. I don't know. I really don't. I was kind of shocked as to how loud it was. I was like, oh, well, that'll be interesting during lives. Sure, I'm still good. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's do the other one. Set this one aside. Take off my little clips. All right, so let's think about what we have. That's the inside. This is the top of the pocket. And the inside front cover. Everything gets glued on to the fabric, so. All right, that looks fine. I didn't mark that, did I? Oh, I did mark that. Okay. I don't know what I marked, honestly. All right, let's see if I can figure it out. Oh, I marked it for that part. That's okay. I think I can figure this out easy enough. Okay. All right. I'm talking to myself, guys. Always talking to myself. You lost your notifications. Oh no. That happens a lot, guys. People get unsubscribed. They lose their notifications. So many problems. Trying to see if I missed any comments. Okay, it looks okay. I apologize if I didn't see anyone come in and say hello. A little bit of glue here. Not going all the way to the edge. Just enough to hold this fabric in place. If you don't smooth out this glue, if your fabric is see-through, you will see it. It'll show, and we don't really want that. I don't know what is going on there. Oh, it's the pocket. Okay. buckle there. It was just the pocket. Make sure I still got my edge, All right, good. Cut those threads off. All right, let's do our spine. Come on. Waiting for that air bubble to catch up. You have to be careful how hard you push your little metal nozzle. It tries to poke a hole in this bag. So I can hear it every now and then trying to poke through. I'm like, oh, don't push so hard. This is pretty fabric though. I like it. I was surprised that I found it, honestly, because I didn't think that I would find what I needed at Michael's, honestly. I thought, oh, there's no way I'm going to find a good coffee fabric, but I lucked out. And it wasn't crazy expensive. It was like $4.99 a yard normally. Granted, it didn't cost me anything, but normally it was $4.99 a yard. And I only bought like a half a yard each. Okay. Make sure we're still lined up. Yep, looks okay. All right. So there we go. Now we have to put it together and sew it all the way around except the pocket. We do not want to glue the pocket. I've done it and it is no fun to have to rip the seam out and take it apart. So don't glue your pocket together. All right, let's put it together. All right, so we have our pocket side. Okay, this is the side that we definitely do not want to sew. Okay, no sewing on that side. So I'm going to line it up, make sure that it's matching pretty well. Hopefully that means everything else will line up. It should, but you know. And I'm going to put a whole bunch of clips there, and then I'll put a note too, because I do not want to sew it closed. So clip that down good. You can kind of clip your ribbon out of the way too, I guess. It definitely gets in the way when you're sewing. We'll try that, see if that works. All right, so let's see if this is lining up good. When I look at both sides, and just kind of make sure that the papers are lining up. I might have to adjust that if it's not. And it's not. All right, that didn't work. Never works. All right, I'm going to try to line up the paper. I'm more concerned that my paper package lines up together than I am the fabric. The fabric is just overhang. So I'm going to line up the paper and then we'll go from there. So let me line up the papers. And it might mean that it doesn't quite match the edge, but that's okay. So that piece, I'm just matching them on the edge like that so they match. All right, now I should be able to put that back. Let's see if this edge matches. Okay, so that's pretty good. What about this side? Let's turn it. Because I know they matched to start with because they were together. So they should match. And if they aren't matching, then I've got something wrong somewhere. All right, we'll just put one there. That looks good. Make sure everything's kind of laying flush and not buckling. Feels okay. I'm sorry about all the flipping, but it's really the only way I can do it. And then I'll have to mark where I'm going to catch that bag, because I do want to catch the bag when I sew it. Make sure everything's lined up. All right, that's feeling pretty good. How about here? See, I've got a lot more. Look how much more fabric I have there. I don't know why. It always seems to do that to me. Because the bottom, I think it's just bigger. I think the piece is just bigger. For whatever reason. As long as it hangs over the edge a little bit, that's all that really matters. It'll all work out in the end. As long as that hangs over a little bit. Alright, so pocket edge. Let me figure it out. It's this side, right? Yeah, okay, pocket edge. I'm going to put me a sticky there before I lose it. I'll have a little sticky. I guess I'll use a big sticky. All right. Okay. Pocket. So I will start probably, let's see, this is the cover on the outside. I want the good sewing on the outside. It honestly, on this part, there's no good way because it's going to look bad on one side or the other, and they're both important, so it is what it is. I didn't put that on backwards, right? Okay, I think I want to start sewing there. I don't know. It doesn't really matter which edge I start on as long as I stop on. I'll figure it out when I turn it around because I usually can't tell till I turn it over which side is more comfortable for me. All right, so I think I'm gonna put the good stitching on the outside though. All right, pocket edge, we want to stop wherever we start at. Say if I start here, I want to stop here. I do not want to go across there. So I'm just going to put stop here for right now, and then I'll figure out if I'm going to start here. I think I am, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I am. And then just make sure everything's got clipped. And hopefully, I'm throwing clips everywhere. Hopefully it'll work out. All right, so let's sew again. So it's not quite perfect lined up on the fabric, but the packaging is lined up perfectly. So we're just going to go with that. And I almost could scoot it this way just a fraction, guys. I'm going to scoot it just a fraction. Not much. Let's see if I can do it without it unlining everything. That's the hardest part, I think, is lining it up. Make sure that still feels right. How tight is that? Usually I can tell once I start sewing if it's starting to buckle on me. All right, let's try that. If worse comes to worse, I'll fray it and make it work. All right, let's, I'm talking too much. Let's see if I can get this back down here. My cords are very short. That goes there. Sorry, hopefully this is not going in and out of focus too much. All right, cord, foot cord. All right, I'm gonna start here. So not where our pocket is. No sewing there. Move that over just a little so I don't hit it. And that down. And then we've got to stay inside that cardboard. I didn't mark it, so I'm just going to give myself a little starter point there. I'm just kind of folding it over. That seems to work pretty well. So I just want to catch that little bit of paper one, so not just the material. I don't want to only catch the material. So I'm just feeling it. Sorry, I meant to do that a second ago. All right, let's see if I can stay on that line. Sorry about the view. I know it's not the best. buckling, I try to adjust for it. Because usually it just means I didn't have everything nicely flat. It's rare that I get everything nicely flat. I don't know why. All right, when I get to my edge, feel it. Where is it? Right. I'm going to keep the needle down, lift the foot, and spin it. Lay the foot back down. Get my ribbon where it's supposed to be, over here. Make sure I'm still on the cardboard. I'll try to mark it a little bit. Just enough so I can see it. I keep calling it cardboard. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like cardboard. It's packaging. Technically, it's craft paper, really. Don't buckle. All right, when I get to the ribbon, I'm just going to back it just a little bit. Just once. I think that's enough. I've got a bad buckle there. Let's try to get it. Yeah, something's not square. All right. I'm waiting for my edge, and I'll keep my needle down and turn it. Okay, last one. Where's my chalk pencil? Mark. Just a little bit. I think this is helping by doing that mark. Really trying to buckle on me. It must have been way off. Sewing machine is not happy. It's too noisy, it's not happy. I can tell it's not happy. It's like, I'm sorry, what did I do to you? All right. Let's see. All right, just stay in there. Oh. Do you see what I did? I caught that edge. All right, let me fix that. Where's my scissors? I have a seam ripper, but I do have some tiny scissors. I totally sewed my lace over. Now I gotta do it again. I've done that a couple of times. Can y'all see it? I'm trying to see what you can see on camera there. See what I did? It flipped. It didn't stay glued. So, we'll have to fix that. Darn. Thought I had it good, but I did not. It's because I'm upside down, so you can't see when that happens. You have to count on your glue holding, and if your glue's not holding, then there's a problem. I don't want to try to sew from the other side, so I'm just going to try to glue it again. Try to get the glue out here a little bit. Maybe it'll stay down. And also this little piece of ribbon. Try to glue that ribbon. Get it to stay in place, and I'll be aware of it this time too, so hopefully I won't do it again. All right, let's try that and fix that. If I was coming from the other direction, it probably wouldn't have happened, but because I was coming from that direction, it just pulled that lace. sure it's staying under there. See what it's doing? It's catching on the edge of the metal piece there. I think I got it. All right, let's double check. Did I get it? Yep. All right. Kinda. It's still got a buckle. Oh my goodness, really? Really? Why are you fighting me so much? Not cool. Alright, I'm doing it from this other side because I can't see it from the other side. Obviously. Even with the glue, it wasn't holding in place. I caught the bottom edge and buckled. Come on. Get this thread to rip. I have a seam ripper somewhere. I bet it's in here. It probably is. I mean, these are little sewing scissors, so they're not terrible. Get some of this thread off of here. Alright, we don't want you buckled there. We want you nice and straight. And for whatever reason, you just don't want to stay glued. So we're going to do you from the top. From the top it is. So I can see what I'm doing. Sometimes you just gotta adjust. All right. All right. It is now down. Third time's a charm, right? Lots of threads. Make sure it looks okay. It's such a dark fabric, it's really not noticeable, which is good. 5 billion threads. I'll have to adjust this piece right here. It's a little off. Sometimes I fray it, but sometimes it's just easier to cut it a little bit. So I'm just going to match it up to that just a bit better. And then I'll fray it. Same thing right here where it's really over. I know it's not perfectly square, but the least of my worries. Where is my pointy tool? There it is. Careful if you have one of these. They are super, super sharp. So sharp. They will hurt you. Afraid. Just so it matches up a little bit better. See this side. Clip off. Make sure everything looks okay. I'm going to pull this sewing machine. Try and make sure I don't need to sew anywhere else. I don't think so. Alright, let me pull the sewing machine out of my way just so I can work better. So bear with me 1 second. see what we got. Okay. So, at this point, I'm just going to clean up the threads and make sure that my fabric is somewhat even. As long as when I put it together, it kind of matches. So this piece can be trimmed right there, just a little bit to match that inside piece. I knew it was a little bit bigger, but I couldn't rip it again. Make sure my ribbons are out of the way. I couldn't rip it again because it was too small of a section. And when you're ripping the fabric, you can't quite do that. So I'm just going to trim it closer and refray it. It probably won't fray quite as nicely, but as long as it frays a little bit, it'll be all right. This will just keep fraying a little bit until it gets to the sewing, which is absolutely fine. All right, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. There's a tiny piece right there. I don't know if it's worth messing with. Maybe a little bit. Just a little. And I might go around and glue the cardboard down better, the packaging, anywhere that it needs it. So like for this pocket, where the packaging isn't quite hitting that fabric there, I'll glue that. Not to this, I don't want to close her pocket, but just to that top piece there, just a little bit. Also, I'm just going to put some of this Fabri-Tac on there. Just to kind of get that to sit a little bit tighter to that. I don't like the packaging to show, if possible. I'm not spreading this out because this fabric's really dark and it's not showing. My chalk's showing though. Where's that eraser at? See if we can get some of this chalk off of there. I might have to use a wet piece. Oh, that's coming. Sometimes the eraser works, sometimes it doesn't. I wanted to do it before I glued it because the glue might affect me being able to. Let's do the other side. Make sure this is attached. I'm only attaching to the top part, not closing the pocket off. And that's just me really kind of nitpicking at it. Just make sure that that's not closed off. It's sealed nicely. Okay, that feels good. Any more chalk? There's a little bit of chalk right there. A little bit of chalk right there. Some chalk here. All right, so on the edges, you can also do the same thing with the glue, just so that the cardboard, the packaging doesn't show. I don't care if the fabric pieces are glued together. I only want definitely want the cardboard pieces. I'm just going to keep calling it cardboard because it looks like cardboard to me. I just want to make sure that that's not showing. I just think it looks better. Oh, there's some more chalk. Chalk, chalk, chalk. Anywhere else? One. Right there. I'll probably find little pieces I missed, but I think we're good. All right, let's see. This edge. Come on. I can glue the two pieces of fabric. It doesn't matter if glue gets on there because it's just going to stick them together. And it'll fray up to that point, which is fine. But mostly I just hate, I don't like the cardboard showing. I don't like that package showing. It bugs me. Alright, there's that. Pocket feels good now. See, now it's adhered to that well. One more side over here. Usually, if you get really close on the sewing, you don't have to do this. Depends on how close you end up with the sewing. Sometimes you catch both edges. Sometimes I'll go around twice so that I catch it inside first and then outside second. But it's just as easy to glue it. And the glue doesn't show like a second line of sewing will. I did pretty good about catching the cardboard this time though, all the way around. I definitely made a difference. Just make sure it's nice and sealed. Like I said, this will probably continue fraying just a little bit more, which is fine. I like it all frayed. I like it to fray all the way up to that edge, preferably. It's pretty that way. Okay, there we go. So we have two pockets. We have our 2-inch spine, which will curve out as we work with it. It'll end up being a little more curvy. And then we have our ribbon, okay, which will hold it closed. Hopefully it's long enough. It's the only one I had. I think it'll be long enough. And then we're going to work on the front cover, okay? So make sure that you're definitely on the front. I don't have an arrow marking up, but logically, if I was this way, that's the thing that can happen, is you can get turned around and think that's your front. So just be very aware and make sure that you look where your pocket is and you're on the right side. Okay, this is my front. If you need to make yourself a little reminder, this is my front. Okay, you've got 6 inches to work with because the spine is 2. So as you're working with your front cover, just keep that in mind. It's like 6 1/4. So we're going to decorate this with some stuff. Let's see. I've got a lace that I coffee dyed to match this. It was more of a off-white. And I have some cutouts of the fabric So this is from this fabric, and what I did is I cut them loosely with a lot of edge on them, and then I ironed on some of that Palon fleece interfacing, and so they all have fleece interfacing on them, so they're a little thicker, and they won't fray or anything because they're ironed down to that. So that's what these are. These are these little cups, and my lace, which is going to go here. So you just want to see how much room you have there. I'm just going to mark it with something. If I can find my ruler, I lost it again. Where'd it go? Try and find that clear one. That's the problem, it's clear. So I lose it all the time. Alright, ruler. Seriously? Did I drop you on the floor? Okay, I don't see it on the floor. I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness. Clear ruler. Alright, so we should have 6 1/4. So I'll just take, I could just take a piece of tape. We'll just do a piece of tape. I'm not worried about this tape affecting this fabric any. If I can tear it off of here. Goodness. Alright, so I'm just going to mark it approximately. Oh my gosh, I can't see that at all. So 6 1/4 looks to be approximately there. Oops. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I want to get close. All right, so about there. Let me just see how that looks. About 2 inches. That looks about right. All right, so approximately there. I think it's crooked, but we're going to straighten it out just so. All right. It still looks crooked. It's because I can't see the ruler. I can't see anything. Okay, there we go. 6 and something, not 1/4. Almost. And a whole lot more. I knew it was crooked. Does that look about right? Yeah, that's better. Okay, about there. So this is the area we have to work with for our front cover, because this is the spine, and then this is the back cover. And that's telling me that's my front cover. So I've got this pretty lace. It's going to go on here, kind of sort of in the middle. So somewhere where I've got approximately equal spaces. Think about it like that. And then I'm going to put these little guys. Can I use my ruler on my mat? I guess I could. I'd have to count it. I could lay it there. It looks crooked still, doesn't it? It really does. Here, let's see. Let's see if Jonna is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's right. And then this is, it's not terrible. It's a tiny bit closer on the top. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit. All right, that looks about right. All right, so something like that. As long as this edge looks relatively even and straight, that's probably the most important part. So I'll probably just glue that maybe through here and here. I thought about trying to sew it, and I was like, I don't think so. But I'll show you what we're going to do. So I've got these little cutouts. So they are going to stack in the typical fun stacky cup thing, like so. Cute. I think it's cute. I thought about putting a label, and I couldn't come up with anything I really wanted on the front of it. So I think I'm just going to leave it without a label, and just leave it plain. So I have glue all over my finger. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut these so that they fit better. I thought about, do I need to maybe cut the bottom so it looks like it's inside there a little bit more? So I may adjust it just slightly so that it fits kind of inside a little better. But I'm just going to start with the bottom one, work my way up. That's the plan. I played with which ones went on the bottom and which ones went on the top, and then I took a picture when I got it looking kind of sort of like I wanted. And this is before I decided to do lace. But I decided the lace offset it better and it looks better. So let's glue this on here before we run out of time. So I think I will start. I'll just put a little bit here, a little bit here. I'm not going to glue this whole thing. I'm just going to kind of try not to move it too much. Get that stuck. I'm mostly going to go off of this edge, I think. That'll probably be fine. I don't want to put the glue on the lace. I think I can just put it on here. I don't know how well this glue will hold this. It should hold, but it might take more glue than I really care to use. If it starts feeling like it's coming up, I can always glue it more. Okay, does that look fairly even? That looks pretty even. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty close. All right, I might put just I don't know if I want any right there. I don't know. I'll put a little bit right on this edge. Just try not to put it to where it comes through the holes, because I just don't like the look of the fabric tack through holes. It always has that shiny look. Okay. Let's glue this down better. I like the way it's frayed on the edge of this lace, though. That's nice. I can take this off now that I know, I think. Well, I'm going to leave it because I still want to, well, I'll take it off probably in a minute. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm trying. All right, glue that just a little bit. That. Let's see. Get any up there? Let's put a little bit more on this edge. Should be able to take that off because obviously I don't think I can turn it around, can I? I don't know if I still can. I feel like I still can, so I'm gonna leave it. I'm so afraid I'm gonna forget which is the top. Don't trust myself. All right, does it feel like it's sticking? Feels like it's sticking. All right, let's go ahead and do this side too. Just a little bit on this edge. Try to stay just where the hole isn't. I think we're good. It feels pretty secure. All right, I'm gonna double check my pocket. Yep, that's the top. We're gonna start with our bottom cup. Okay. Okay, now since I am going to possibly stick them inside a little bit, that means they'll get shorter. So I might have to adjust where I start. Let's see. Like these I don't need to cut, but the ones that sink inside there a little bit, I think I'll adjust those. So maybe just start about there. That looks about right. I think I'm only going to have to maybe possibly trim 1 or 2. So I'm going to trim this one just a little, just a tiny bit. Let's see if we can get it to kind of look like it's sitting inside that cup a little bit better. Now, go from there. It's like I can't put a lot of tilt on it because some of these have this little wide spot. It doesn't quite work if I get it too tilty. It's like I like it tilty, but it doesn't quite work. All right, I think that's good. So let's do those two. I'm going to turn this just a little closer right there. And it's framed just ever so slightly right there because of the sewing. The interfacing isn't catching that edge, but it's not fraying terribly. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this black edge off there a little bit better. Okay, so we'll glue this one. Let's see how this works. Let's see if I can zoom a little bit. Not much. I can't do much. All right. I don't want to get out of camera. Right there. So maybe about that high. I wish I could have found a label that worked. And I don't know. I'm calling it Coffee and Cocoa. I went back and forth on titles for a while. I was not sure what I wanted to call it. I didn't want to call it Coffee and Chocolate because that was what the Stamperia one was called. And I have done that before, like with the orchids and cats, but I really wanted it to be something a little bit different, and I just couldn't come up with anything. I went back and forth on a couple of names, like Coffee O'Clock and Coffee Time and Blissful Beans and Bean Bliss, and I don't know. I just kept trying to come up with names, and it just really wasn't. It wasn't working. Fraction right there. So we're going to try to make it look like it's kind of sitting inside there. So I just went with Coffee and Cocoa. I think that works. And I thought about leaving out the chocolate, but honestly, so many of the papers I was finding had chocolate too, that I figured it was for the best. And I don't get me wrong, I love chocolate. I do love chocolate. It doesn't love me. I can only eat like 1 or 2 pieces. It gives me a migraine if I eat too much. So I can't eat a lot of it. But I do love it. I think this is going to be cute. Some glue on my fingers. Roll it off. All right, next cup is this one, right? Yeah, okay. So this one, I'm going to try to tilt it just slightly. Try to do like that, I think. I can always cut that one just a little bit there. It's like it's hard to do much of a tilt because of the way they sit. I think that'll be fine. Come on. I need to buy some more of this interfacing. I need to buy some more regular interfacing too, because a lot of times when I'm using fabric for cutouts, I really do like the interfacing on it. It makes it so much easier. So I did some with just glue instead, which works. But trying not to get off center too much because it'll start going one direction. We don't want that. Is it the sugar in chocolate or the actual chocolate that causes the migraines? You know, I really do not know. I don't know. It shouldn't be the caffeine because I have caffeine all the time. It could possibly be the sugar, but I eat Peeps like crazy and I don't get a migraine. And they're pure sugar. So I don't think it's the sugar. I don't know what it is that does it. I'm sure there's some chemical in there that does it. It's too bad because I really love it and I really have to watch myself. And sometimes I overindulge and then I end up with a migraine and it's just like, oh well, I'm just going to deal because I really wanted it. You know, sometimes you just have to deal anyway. Look right? I think so. All right. So much glue on my fingers. All right, so this one, I think I'm going to cut it just to make it match that a little bit better. Let's see. A little bit more on that side. Trying to get it to kind of sit in there better. That's pretty good. Can I use the interfacing on the ES transfers to put on shirts? No, it doesn't work. I have tried transfers on fabric, and when you wash them, they just fall apart basically. It doesn't seem to. They don't seem to hold up. And I've tried a couple of different ways. And they just don't seem to hold up, Jonna. There we go. Cute. I like it. This reminds me of macrame. Do y'all know macrame? Gosh, so popular back in what, the 70s? Everything was macrame. Just the way it's all fringy there. Totally reminds me of that. All right, now it won't be hard to tell because we got our teacups or coffee cups in there. They're the right way. Get the string off there. All right, guys. So let that dry. It'll take a little bit before it gets fully dry. And sometimes I try to train this spine with a roll. Here, let me see if I can find one. Find that smaller one. Just like something like that. Just kind of put it in there. That way it kind of just starts helping it to take its shape. And you just kind of leave it there. It'll start taking its shape better. But that's how that's going to be. I think it's going to be very cute. So that is our journal. I will be doing papers. I'm going to show you that guillotine cutter. Don't run off yet. Let me get this fabric tack off of here. It's goopy. It's the only thing about gluing on that fleece is it's so fuzzy. It's not as fuzzy as that snow stuff I was using, that snow blanket, but it's still a little fuzzy. All right, so guillotine cutter. All right, here's the new one. We'll just use some scrap. Grab a couple of pieces of scrap that I don't really care about. We'll use this cheap paper. 1 second. Okay. So. Sorry, almost dropped you. So let me zoom back out because I'm way too close. All right, this is my old-fashioned guillotine cutter that was handed down to me from David's father. It's a very heavy metal one. Okay, when it cuts, okay, you hear that? It's not super loud. It definitely has, you know, that little bit of a metallic sound to it, but this one do you hear how loud it is? It's just, I think because of the way the blade catches. And I was cutting cardboard with it. I was cutting these little Bones coffee ones. And I'll trim just a tiny bit off. It just seems very loud to me. Even just lifting it back up is loud. But it's definitely cute. And I do like the fun decal edge. But it is a little bit loud. But you get the fun, I don't know if you can see it, deckled edge. Where's a piece of white paper? If I can get you to see it. So you get that fun deckled edge, which is fun. It seems to cut through stuff pretty easy. I haven't had any issues cutting anything so far. I've done the cardstocks, and I've done, this is actually a box. It's the box my Bones coffee came in, and I peeled the top layer of the cardboard off. So it's just that top layer. I'm gonna use it for pockets, and it's a nice little piece, but it is small, so it will only hold, you know, a small size. So I think it's what, 9 maybe? Not even. Yeah, maybe not even 9. It's like 8 3/4 is all the width it'll hold. So it'll hold like a 8.5 by 11 that way. But it's just, it's noisy. It's very noisy. And maybe because it is plastic, this part, whereas the other one is all metal. And I think that plastic, it kind of resonates through there. So I don't know, but it's cool. I don't care that it's noisy per se. I don't know how much I'll be doing it on my lives, but because it is noisy. I don't want to torture y'all too much. But so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to be making papers. I'm going to show you. I've got the pages. I'll be making out of a couple different things. So I've obviously got this Stamperia paper, which, let's see if I can figure out the right direction here. It has a wax thing on one side. So it's got all of these, which are very cute papers. Double-sided, of course. It's got chocolate. Love this. I mean, that's so cool. And then cups. So it's very cute paper. They're considered background, so I'll probably use them for pages, and then whatever is chopped off for the page, you know, will be a pocket or something probably. But then I also took this sketchbook. This is a very old sketchbook. Don't ask me where it came from. I have no clue. It's got some sort of a title on there. I can't read it. Art Alternatives, I think it says. But I took the pages out. So what I did is I took it and I found the signature. So this has signatures like any other books. And I found a signature. So you just kind of have to pull it apart until you find one that is where the sewing is. And usually you can kind of find it, but sometimes it's hard. All right, so you find it where you can find the sewing. That's not it. It must have been that first one. Because it's also got glue. So anyway, so once you find the sewing, then I snipped the threads and pulled out that section, okay, which leaves me with little pieces. These are 8.5 by 11. So I've got some chocolate wrappers. I've got some coffee washi tape, which I've had for a while. I coffee dyed a whole bunch of papers. Coffee dyed some of these things. So this is that paper I just showed you and how it looks with the threads cut out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these to fit. I thought about leaving them whole on some of them and folding them over for pockets. But I'm going to try to print some of them. So some of these I'm going to cut to 8.5 by 11 with this being my center. You know, so, you know, 5.5 here, 5.5 here, the typical page size. And then get the Etsy printables that I have and try and print a couple of their background pages on there and see how that works. I did a whole bunch of these, so I've got quite a few to work with. Let's see, where are they? Right here. So I did all these. So I have quite a few to work with. And I'll try it that way, and then if that doesn't work, then I'll just use the stencils on it or tear out pages and glue to it or whatever. And then I have all this coffee dyed paper that I did. So this is just regular coffee dyed paper. So lots of papers to pull from. I've got a couple of grid pages in here. And I did 1 or 2 envelopes. This is that new stencil I got, which is awesome. It makes the little coffee stain. It's a Tim Holtz thing. It's a little Tim Holtz stencil. Okay, and that's just with like vintage, distress vintage ink, whatever it's called, vintage photo. So, and I've got, what else do I have? I had this little book that had a couple of coffee things in it. It was from Timu. I don't know what else in there. A couple of things. More of the packaging. Not sure how those will work. Packaging. I pulled out a couple of essential stencils that I thought I might use. Some coffee bar. These. I'm not sure. These might be too Christmassy. But I found a couple. And just different coffee packages that I had. I must have stuck that on tissue. Oh, it's on a paper towel. I don't know how I glued that to a paper towel, but I did. Interesting. Sticker from Bones Coffee. This is the cardboard. So when I took that top layer of cardboard off, it's this piece. And if you wet it and get it completely wet, it just falls off. And then you just dry it. So that's how you can separate that corrugation from that top piece without destroying it. Because if you try to peel it off, it usually ends up getting just ripped. And then, I don't know, I had a couple things in here. This I did with a, I think a stamp. I feel like this is a rubber stamp and I sanded it. I think that's what that was. So I'll have to find it. I did that on a couple things. I was playing around at one point. And then I've got a whole bunch of coffee labels, different coffees we've had. So I'll be using some of those. Some are more Christmassy, but some aren't. Some are Halloween-y, but that's just a plain one. There'll probably be a pocket. Not sure if I'll use the Halloween and Christmas ones. I might not. And then I've got a regular some Guatemala coffee we got at Home Goods, I think. This Mudslide Boogie, this is like my favorite flavor. Although I did try their French toast and it's really good too. But this is probably one of my favorites. But so I've got lots of things to play with. Lots of bits and pieces that we will use in this journal. So that's where I'm at. So I'm going to work on printing some of these with the digitals and see how they turn out and go from there. But that's what we have. Lots of stuff. All right. So hopefully y'all enjoyed me putting together this cover. And I think it'll be cute. I think it's going to be a cute journal. Okay, so we got that, and we got pockets, and then we got a pocket, and we'll do a writing board, I'm sure, to put in there. And that'll be that. All right, guys, that's it for our live. It's 11 o'clock. Time for me to get off of there. You haven't tried the bones? You know, they're a little pricey. I'm not going to lie. Most of them are pricey. If you do the subscription, it's not as bad. They give you a discount if you do the subscription. And the longest time you can go between is like 8 weeks. And so I did that the last time, but I'm not quite out of coffee and they just shipped me another one. So I don't drink a ton of coffee. But it is definitely cheaper. I think they give you like 20% off. So it's a little bit cheaper, but yeah. As coffees go, it is a little more pricey. But they taste yummy. They really do. All right, guys. I'll let y'all go. I will see you on Wednesday. So for right now, until I figure out a painting, I'm not going to say how long that's going to be because I'm just not in the mindset for painting right now. I'm going to try to find something that appeals to me. But just with everything that's going on, I'm not there. So right now I'm just going to focus on this. We're going to do this on Wednesdays and Fridays, and then I'll go from there. Okay, guys? So I'll see you guys next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. All right, y'all take care. Have a wonderful evening. All right, bye-bye.